Have you ever chased a quick win only to realize you sold yourself short? That post, that drop, that project, it gave you the high that you wanted, but not the impact that you needed. We've all been there. And that's the tension that every brand faces, stuck between owning the moment and protecting the legacy. Because in marketing, and just like in sports, timing is everything. Today we're breaking down how Nike and MLB just mastered it and how Adidas might have fumbled it, all through the lens of cultural currency and the difference between short-term wins and long-term value. Let's get to the point. We'll start with Nike and how their response to the Dodgers championship was a masterclass in cultural timing. Then talk about the MLB and how they've been embracing hip-hop and drama to really build out their brand presence. And lastly, we'll talk about how brands can get a little too greedy too fast. Talking about Adidas. The way they just butchered this whole jellyfish thing is a big problem. But we'll dive into that in a little bit. First off, let's talk about the World Series. On Saturday, in case you're living under a rock, the Dodgers and the Blue Jays just capped off an epic World Series with the Game 7 that had all of the drama, highlight plays, comeback win, anything you could have scripted, it happened. And obviously with the Dodgers being involved, coming from Hollywood, being the LA team, the Hollywood of it all is going to be a part of the narrative. And that's exactly what Nike tapped into for their spot. LA loves a sequel. And it was great because last year it was all about the Hollywood ending, right? Again, being in LA and the D of the Dodgers logo being at the end of the word end and at the end of Hollywood is just like one of those things that when you're trying to come up with copy and these authentic connections, like when you find that level of genius, like you've got to tap into it. So last year it was great. They kind of ran a spot that looked like the end credits, right? The end, and was scrolling and had like, kind of LA, California themed music. And it was, again, super timely. And they coupled that with some out of home hits and all of this built out this whole presence. And then for this year, the Dodgers go back to back and they essentially remix that spot. And what's super cool is you can play them both back to back and it runs as like one full spot. So again, love that synergy, love that connection. And with this spot, the remix included Kendrick Lamar Squabble Up, which, obviously he's Mr. LA right now. Everything he touches is been gold. So connecting the Dodgers even further to Kendrick, LA, this movement, it was genius. And it hit right on time as soon as the game wrapped and they went to the first commercial break during the post-game celebration. You get that spot. And you also get social media flooded with the spot and reactions and comments. And that is just, Nike basically invented this moment, the kind of championship response. It used to be as soon as the game is over, you get that first ad to buy your championship gear. Now it's all about the brand flexing and in that moment. And it takes a lot of preparation because, right, especially when it comes to a Game 7, the Dodgers or the Blue Jays could have won that game. So you have to be ready with both options and kind of built out these campaigns and ready to launch once the timing hits. So Nike, kudos for always being prepared to hit those marks when they present themselves. And nobody does it like them. And I think it's cool because it all ties back to Nike's brand, right? That is authentic to what Nike represents. Nike is the goddess of victory. Nike, the brand, champions athletes who are successful. So when they have their victorious moment, Nike has to be right there. And they've done a great job of building an ecosystem in a way that they could be involved in these moments organically and capitalize on them. So shout out to Nike for just mastering that moment. Excellent copywriting, excellent execution, no notes. That was great. I love that. But that's just to call out ways that you can just be true to yourself and master the moment. And obviously the Kendrick of it all is unique. And this World Series as a whole presented a unique opportunity and just like a cultural serendipity, if you will, for, after everything that went down last year between Drake and Kendrick, West Coast, LA, Toronto, we get an LA Toronto World Series. So, shout out to the MLB, man. They have been kind of feeding off of relevance for the last couple years and just not being as culturally connected as they used to be, right? Like baseball used to be America's sport, and it's long since lost that title. But there is still a reverence and attachment around the game that they haven't been able to connect to. So I think this season is a continuation of a lot of the great work they've been doing to reestablish themselves in the culture, just pop culture and everything, and the way they have brought in the right players to help tell that story. It started off last year. You get this great moment: Yankees, Dodgers, LA, New York, two biggest brands in baseball, two biggest markets. That is the stuff that you dream of in the boardrooms when you're looking to kind of have a big moment that elevates the eyeballs. And you have stars on both sides. You got Aaron Judge, you got Shohei Ohtani, right? Like, huge moment. And they capitalized on that. Wasn't as great a series on the field, but still a great moment. And then that bleeds into the off season, preseason. We get opening day, Kendrick, TV off edits, awesome. And then the postseason, you get the Pharrell nod, right? And you get this holistic campaign, and they're using their big moments to pull in culturally significant figures to help tell a bigger story and broaden their reach and kind of just connect them back to culture in a way that we haven't seen baseball do over the past couple of decades. So it's great to see that kind of come to fruition. And whenever you get two big forces like a Drake and Kendrick involved, even like on the outskirts of this whole thing, the commentary becomes what it becomes. And that's how you stay involved, you stay in. And there were so many different brand responses. Obviously, again, Drake, Kendrick, you got the Not Like Us, you got Still Not Like Us from that battle. And then you have with the, what's the word I'm looking for? You have all the back-to-back, right? Because the Dodgers first team to go back-to-back since the Yankees did it at the turn of the century. So you have another feat back-to-back. It was one of Drake's epic diss tracks towards Meek Mill, and he had the cover with the Blue Jays because they went back-to-back in the early 90s. So you have that flip. You have Not Like Us flip. You have Drake versus Kendrick. Drake was trolling when it looked like everything was sweet. When they was up 3-2 going back home to close it out, he was posting pictures on his Instagram story showing Shohei Ohtani striking out, tagging Glasses Malone songs. And so, was a little too early. Again, started celebrating a little too early. It looks like he hasn't learned from last year. He started celebrating a little bit too early, trying to get his troll on, and it all blew up back in his face once again. The Dodgers parade was literally just the disses reloaded from, what they talk about. They talk about nothing. They Not Like Us. They Still Not. It just was incessant. But again, you just create this conversation that amplifies the game, right? It's what the NBA does so well. Like, they're so connected to culture. Like, any moment that happens, there's an NBA meme for it. There's a basketball correlation for it, right? And so baseball being in that position and capitalizing on it allows them to also start to have those cultural connected moments, right? Like, this is something that people remember, man. You have an epic Game 7 that ends the way it does. Like, people are going to remember this. This is one of those games. It's one of those games that you will remember forever. You remember where you were when you're watching it. You remember you were when you saw the home plate call be that close, and then right after, the amazing catch in the outfield by, it's just like, you're going to remember this game. And so the MLB has to keep building that momentum and not let their upcoming CBA negotiations derail all of that, because a strike right now would just kill the MLB dead to rights. Like, they have done such a great job of starting to modernize the game a little bit, making the playing field safer, having the pitch clocks to speed up the game so it's a little bit more enjoyable, more TV friendly, and you have these back-to-back great championship moments, right? And so just keep building on that, and we'll see where that goes. And I hate the narrative that I'm starting to see spun about this, because obviously this was a Game 7. The NBA Finals had a Game 7 between the Pacers and the Thunder. And, this one performed really well. And, of course, it's lazy and cheap to try to take this moment that the MLB is having to dunk on the NBA. Like, I think that's so whack. I think it's in poor taste. It shows how hypercritical people have been of basketball, which is why the kind of enjoy basketball and positive takes on the game is so important, because people just love to nitpick the NBA for whatever reason, and it's become too commonplace to try to like take them down a peg. So I hate that. I hate how people are kind of moving in that way. But again, it's so disingenuous, because it's clearly like, of course, that game was insane. It'd be like, now apples to apples would be comparing the 2016 NBA Finals Game 7 to this Game 7, right? You got big stars, you got big markets, and one big market involved with, the Bay and Cleveland, but you still got LeBron James involved. That game comes down the wire. Let's look at those numbers. Like, putting the OKC Indiana finals up against Dodgers going for a repeat, Dodgers being down, the way that game ended, extra innings, like, yes, that's going to be a massive success, and that's fine. Like, we don't have to compare the two. So I hate that I'm seeing that narrative out there. It's lazy, it's stupid. Like, just enjoy what you enjoy. Stop taking it as a moment to, kind of trying to critique on something you don't really care about. So I just thought that was whack and needed to be said. Now, speaking of something that was whack, right, as great as the MLB has been in tapping figures like Pharrell, Adidas has this moment, right? The energy around Pharrell is so pure right now, right, and so organic. He's leading up menswear design at Louis Vuitton, right, putting on these epic runway shows and these epic collections and collaborations, producing and scoring shows at the Vatican, right? Just epic, big moments, right? And then with Adidas, comes out with his best shoe, honestly, since like the NMD run, which was like the last probably big hype shoe he's been involved with them. And you get this Jellyfish sneaker. It's super chunky, different, and immediately is a hit, right? It has a high price point. I think it retails around 300, and it's reselling for thousands, right? So you have this like kind of lightning in a bottle, and it's at these moments where you have to decide like what kind of brand you are and what kind of brand you want to be. And Adidas has a lot of cultural relevance, and they've been able to attach themselves and collaborate with key creators and key influential people throughout time to kind of elevate their brand and create this energy and this air about them. So I was sort of dumbfounded to see them quickly step on their own product. And it's commonplace for brands to do this, right? You have your high ticket item, you have your premium version that people aspire to, and then eventually you give them like a lower ticket offer, right? You give them something that's a little bit more in the price range, like, hey, you might not be able to get the Air Jordan 11s, but you can get the the Fusions or the Jumpman. Like, there's always these takedowns, right? Anthony Edwards just introduced a takedown of his signature line, so it's a thing, right? So I'm not against having a takedown version. It's just the timing in which they stepped on their own product. Like, the Jellyfish hasn't even fully had the runway to become as goated as it could have been. Like, we only had the one orange colorway. The blue one just dropped at Complex Con, and you're already stepping on the orange one with I think it's called the Squid or something crazy like that. Like come on, like, let it breathe, let it have a little mystique to it, let it have a little air to it. Like, this feels very reminiscent of the Yeezys when, Kanye came out with the Yeezy line, bright red shoes, the pink, black, and all that color. Like, all those colorways were so unique, so fresh, that Nike started implementing them on other models, but they started implementing their colorways on different models. So it's like, hey, you can't get the Yeezy, but you can, get Yeezy colorways on these different things, but the Yeezy's still the Yeezy. And it still allowed that to be the premium kind of product. So for them to step on the Jellyfish within what feels like 3 months is like kind of baffling. It's kind of baffling. And so you have to make those assessments as you're building your brand. Like, what are you about, right? Are you trying to create things that last? Are you trying to create a legacy? Are you trying to create moments that win and tell a big story? Or are you just trying to cash out? Simple as that, right? Like, and cashing out has its short-term benefits, right? Like, you can't, I don't know what pressure they're under and what financial needs they may have, but it's short term. And yes, you may be able to sell a lot of the squids, but now the next drop is going to be less valuable, right? And you could have done 3 or 4 jellyfish drops, had a crazy momentum. The next jellyfish drop would have went even crazier. You could produce more units. Now, you kind of took the steam out of it a little bit. So it's just one of them things you have to decide, like, where your values lie as a brand and what your goals are, and making sure you're aligned with that, and not moving off your square. And because there's going to be opportunities to make a quick buck, there's going to be opportunities to cash in on the cultural currency you're building up. And when you do, just make sure it's worth it, because it's not a bank you can keep withdrawing from. So Adidas made that call. That's on them. And we'll see what happens. But let me know if y'all rocking with the jellyfish, or if y'all would even get any other colorways now. Let me know in the comments. But I think it kind of just stepped on it for me personally. That's what we'll sort of wrap it up today. And again, looking at the past week and some of the major moments, you start to see these threads and these insights. And timing is everything for your brand, right? Like, if you're Nike and MLB, you have a championship moment, you want to celebrate, you want to build brand equity, build brand value, create a story and connection amongst the audience. You got to capitalize on that moment. They did an excellent job. Timing can also work against you, right? You have this story bubbling at Adidas and this product, and you go for the exchange of cash up front and create a cheaper product. Now that story kind of gets cut at the knee. So it's all about timing, and understanding what your goals are and where you want to go, and making sure you stay true to that. Stand firm. Don't let outside factors sway you in different positions. You got to stand firm and know who you are. So that's the big lesson of the week. If you made it this far, made it all the way to the end, please like, subscribe, share with somebody who you think might enjoy this, who's looking to build their personal brand, or just interested in sports and the stories behind the game, and how you can take these insights and create it for yourself, right? And do it on your own. So that's what I'm here to do. Help you build your brand, help you tell some amazing stories. And thank you guys for making this far. If you didn't know, I'm Derek, the Marketing Point Guard. This is my channel. Make sure you guys tap in, and trying to get it up to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's a big goal. So if you can help with that, I appreciate y'all, and catch y'all in the next one. Peace.